Welcome to the podcast for G's only. For G's only. And it's for all women who's at the C-suite level. CEO. And we coming your way to share our stories in leadership. So we walking the walk, talking the talk, being the boss lady. Welcome to the C-suite, where we help build women leadership and how to be the boss lady. So welcome to the C-suite. So let's talk about being a CEO.
All right. Welcome to She Sweets Podcast with Jodi Hood. It's a place where women of color and C-suite executives share and compare unfiltered realities women face that our male counterparts will never face. We laugh, we cry, we survive, and we thrive. On today's episode, we'll be talking about popping under pressure. And I am so elated to have our guest today, who is an executive leadership coach, and her name is Joia Jefferson Nuri. And she is a forerunner and a trailblazer in the field of women leadership. She was the first African American woman tech director for CBS. And she's also the very first creator of a podcast dedicated exclusively to women of color. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm fine, but I want to say that I'm hosting the first podcast dedicated to women of color in the executive suite. There have been more forerunners before us, but for the leadership targeted just at women who either are seeking that role or are already sitting there.
Thank you for that clarity. And that is really important, especially since this podcast is dedicated for women in the C-suite.
And welcome to the club. The more the merrier. We need these voices.
Yes, we do. Alrighty, so last month was a somber month for the community of She Suites. A Black woman, HBCU leader, vice president of student affairs at Lincoln University in Missouri, died by suicide. Now, it was reported that Dr. Bailey took her own life after being harassed and bullied by the president of that university, who just happened to be a white male. Now, it's a known fact that C suite women suffer many hardships in this male dominated workplace. And those hardships are multiplied for Black women and women of color in that same space. So, Joya, could you speak to us a little bit about the additional pressures that women of color in leadership face at the C suite level?
I first want to send my heart to Dr. Bailey and her transition. It is tragic that a woman with her talent and skills would need to end her existence here on earth. I'm very sorry that she didn't have a support system around her that understood this and could nurture her in her unique position, because it really is a unique position to be an African descendant woman at the top of the ladder in any corporation, whether that's university or corporate America or in an association. You are in rarefied air in that position. And you have the pressure of racism, misogyny, the stereotypes about your sexuality, the
Yes.
stereotypes about your ability to learn, the misnomer that we only get ahead from affirmative action, that we don't have talent, that white people granted us these jobs from affirmative
Absolutely.
action. So you have all of that is sometimes unconscious bias, sometimes very conscious bias, because the mission is to prove that racism is right.
For sure.
And so they add additional pressure on you or make you do things your predecessor could not accomplish, but now you have the job. I mean, we talk about the sister who took over Walmart and left because what they did was give her a failing ship, a sinking
Yes.
ship,
Hmm.
and then said, here, plug the holes and fix it when the 400 white men ahead of her could not do it. I'm not saying
Yes.
that Walmart is not a profitable company, but it obviously has some internal stuff that needed to be fixed. And I gave the job to a Black woman because, we wear this cape.
Mm-hmm.
We have this SB, super B on our chest.
Right, with the
And,
SB.
yeah, right, SB on our chest. And that if we can't fix it, then the entire race is a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have this additional pressure from all of those things. But in the prefrontal lobe of our brains, right in here, it's the
Yes.
last place of the brain to develop as you're growing up. And it is the place of judgment and comparison.
Mm-hmm.
And it's commonly called the inner critic.
The inner
Some people
critic.
call it the saboteur. Some
Mm-hmm.
people call it whatever. But in the years that I've been coaching, I like the word inner critic because inner critic, or how my colleagues call it, the inner critic or the chatter, the destructive chatter.
Mm-hmm.
The inner critic is there to compare everything to everything, and it is never there to lift you. It is to compare you to your past failures. It predicts future failures. It takes everything anybody says to you. If
Mm-hmm.
somebody says, "Oh, I love you in that blue sweater, but you would look better in green," all you're going to hear is would look better in
And
green.
green, right?
Yeah, you would not hear you look lovely in that blue sweater. You'd only hear the part that diminishes you. So you
I'm
ask
guilty of that, Joya. I really am. I am.
every human being on the globe is guilty of it.
Okay.
Between the ages of 6 and 13, your inner critic develops. And I want to go back just for a second to Dr. Bailey. So you
Yes.
add all of the things we can see
Mm-hmm.
that would cause her to commit suicide, but we have no idea how brutal her inner critic might have been.
Yes. And
He
I'm
might have
glad
been
you are.
battling that white guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And in addition, an inner critic that says, he's right, he's right, he's right, he's right, he's right, he's right. Nobody in your family has ever done this. Why are you here? Who are you? You're some uppity Negro. Who are you?
Yeah.
And you're a woman, and maybe you're not that pretty, and maybe you're not that smart. And,
Mm-hmm.
Sally had better grades than you. And
Mm-hmm.
why did you wear that dress today?
Right.
Constantly telling you what you're not. And then you
Joya.
add all the other things.
Yeah,
Yes, Miss
I
Jody.
have a question. Is that similar or is that the same thing as what I've heard called referred to as the imposter syndrome? Is that
The imposter
similar?
syndrome is different.
Okay.
The imposter syndrome is a result of your inner critic.
Mm.
It's a result. It is not a thing in of itself. It's created by your inner critic. So your inner critic is constantly telling you, you cannot be the dean of this. You can't be the vice president of this. So you
Mm-hmm.
walk around thinking you're an imposter because you're not qualified to be there. You're not smart enough to be there. Your strategic plan will never work when there is, more than likely no evidence that that's true.
Correct.
No
Mm-hmm.
evidence that true. And I'm sorry that Dr. Bailey didn't have these two questions to ask that voice.
And
And
what are
one
those two
is,
questions? Mm-hmm.
is that true?
Okay.
And the next question will be, well, if it is true, is that the only truth? So maybe the strategic plan I
Mm.
created is not going to work. Maybe I should go back and look at that. But the fact that it's going to fail just because is never true. Never true. It's not true of an athlete. It's not true of an
Mm-hmm.
educator. It's not true of you or me. It's
Never
not
true.
never true because today you can just Google the answer. Okay, you can just go
With
back to
AI
school.
for sure. It's
Yeah, right now, or
easy.
AI it. You can do it. You can find the answer. And so there's three key things to your working with the inner critic.
Mm-hmm.
One, recognize when she's talking. A lot of times we move on the energy of her talk,
Mm-hmm.
not thinking about what she's saying or if she's saying it. So this is what I tell my clients.
Mm-hmm.
She's talking when you don't feel invincible.
Mm. Interesting.
When you don't feel like I can do that, of course I can do that. That's just going to talk. I need to pull in, get my little kitchen cabinet of friends and advisors, but I can do that. I
Mm-hmm.
can do that. If you don't feel invincible, she's talking, which means that more than likely she's talking 99% of the time. So you
Whoa.
have to become aware of when you don't feel invincible, when fear is guiding you, when doubt is guiding you. You have to become aware of that. And when you are aware of it, you have to ask the questions. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a really ugly dress you're wearing today. Is that really true? It's not
Right.
really true.
No,
I
it's
bought
not
it.
really true.
Yeah.
Right.
It's appropriate to the venue that I'm
Uh-huh.
going to. It's, it looks good on my body. I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And why I'm second guessing it after it's on a credit card is foolishness.
Okay.
So,
Especially after it's on the credit card.
really, after you've already put it on a credit card, you bought it, you loved it, and today your inner critic is making you feel bad about everything. So is that true? No, it's not true. And if it is true,
Mhm.
it can't be the only truth because I can change my dress.
Just that simple,
Just I can
right?
put a scarf on it, a necklace on it,
A brooch,
a
something.
brooch. Okay, I can do something else, but I can't make that decision while the inner critic is talking. You can't comb your hair while the inner critic is talking
Hmm.
because she's constantly going to say, Joia, why did you wear that color lipstick? You have so many colors of lipstick. Well, damn it, today I wanted to wear this color lipstick. Inner
Right.
critic, so you're going to quiet her with conversation or you're going
Hmm.
to have an imaginary baseball bat and you're going to beat her down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes. So,
All right.
yeah.
Such an interesting concept. The brutal inner critic. Now, why
She's
do you
always brutal.
characterize her as brutal?
Because your inner critic doesn't tend to say, the only places I have found that your inner critic is good when she says, you should put on another layer of deodorant.
Now, we may listen to her then.
Are you sure you brushed your teeth?
Okay.
Okay. Is this
Yeah.
outfit appropriate for this event?
Uh-huh.
You want to wear jeans and a t-shirt to present to the board of directors.
Hmm.
You might do it.
Yeah.
You might not be the president of that organization next go round. Okay.
I
But,
doubt it seriously,
you
but
know, but the brutality is this. Something happens to you between the ages of 6 and 13,
hmm,
generally it's 6 to 12, that shook your faith in humanity and shook your faith in yourself. It could be something as simple as your grandmother constantly telling you, know your place. So as you're moving up the ladder in life, you're
hmm,
hearing your grandmother.
know
And that
your
creates
place.
an inner critic about being uppity, about being out of your place, about being a know it all. That creates it. Your grandmother didn't mean anything. Your Black grandmother was saying, know your place to protect you from getting killed out here in racist
Exactly.
America.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not, it's a lot of times the inner critic is caused by inadvertent things. I
Mm-hmm.
had a brutal aunt who constantly complained about me. I mean, when I was 4, 5, 6 years old,
Okay.
my mother would take me to the hairdressers and get my hair done every week. My mother would comb my hair before going to school. When I came home after school, my mother would comb my hair and change me into play clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My mother was the type of woman of the 50s and the 60s who went out with a handbag and gloves. Okay.
Got
That's
it.
my
Mm-hmm.
mother. Okay. Her
Okay.
sister
Yes.
wasn't that woman. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And her sister um, decided to take out this on me. She just so even today, like I love
Yeah.
my haircut. I am
Mm-hmm.
so self-conscious about my hair. This stuff happened 4 million years ago, but
Oh
what
my
she
gosh.
did was give me body image problems that I had
Mm-hmm.
to fight my entire life until I had a coach who
Mm-hmm.
30 years ago taught me about the inner critic
Isn't that
and
something?
taught me all of those lies. And those people who do those things to you could be jealous, could
Mm-hmm.
have their own sicknesses. So there could be a little sympathy and love offered to them, but you need to
Uh-huh.
stop their voice in your head.
Yes. This conversation is so rich and so needed, Joya, which is a great segue right into my next question.
Mhm.
Because you are an executive coach. And
Yes,
through my research, I found that about 66% of male executives have a coach, while
yes.
only 6% of women executives have a coach. So, my question to you, why do you think that is? And please tell us exactly what an executive coach does and the benefits of having that human connection. Now, I know I put three questions in one,
I got it,
but
but I
okay,
got
you
it.
got it.
All
Thank
right.
you.
I'm going to first answer the middle question. So,
Mm-hmm.
what an executive coach does. Traditionally, and for most coaches, the coach helps you with your life strategies. The
Mm.
coach is there, a trained coach, not a mentor, not a therapist. A trained coach is there to ask a series of powerful questions to get you unhooked from someplace where you're stuck. The coach is not there to give their opinion. The coach is not there to answer your questions with, well, this is what I think you ought to do. That's a
Mm-hmm.
consultant. That's a mentor. Okay.
Okay.
A coach is there to bring out of you what's already there that may be dormant in your whole soul and your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A good coach is just there to help you focus, come up with a strategy. I work with my clients beyond the inner critic stuff. I work with my clients on building strategies for their corporate life, for their personal life, for their association life, for their education life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what do you really want? What's in the way of that happening? What will your future self say to you if you don't do this? What will your future self say if you do this?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just there to be that person as a coach. 66% of white men in in corporate America, association America, education America have coaches because they fully understand that the level of success they want to reach cannot be done alone.
Oh, that's so
They
important.
fully understand
It
that they
can't
have to
be
build,
done
it can't be
alone.
done alone.
Yes.
It can't be done alone. And you add to that for Black women, we are very often the first person in our families to have achieved at this level.
Very
So it's
often.
not like you can
Yes.
turn to daddy, okay, or your sisters and brothers for your advice. And now millions of families can. But still, even for me as a coach, I can't coach a family member. There has
Okay.
to be a distance.
Yes.
Ethically, I can't coach a family member. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
surgeon can't do surgery on a family member.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be an
Correct.
emotional distance
Mm-hmm.
for me to work with you. So 66% of white men who have coaches understand you can't do this alone. 66% of that says you have to get a certified coach, not just somebody with great advice. Because
Certified. Yes.
cer- great advice only comes from my body of knowledge, not training and experience. So
Okay.
that would make me a mentor.
Right.
So the last question is, why don't Black women do this? One, we believe we're supposed to do everything alone. Two, we think to ask our companies, our associations, our education institutions for professional development money would make them believe we can't do our jobs. When the white
Mm.
men have no problem with going after that professional development money to get to make them better, they recognize this is the leg up. This isn't an admission of failure.
Yes. So, with that being said, Joya, this just about brings our podcast to a close. I really hate to let you go, but could you please tell our listeners where they could find you if they would like to have an executive coach, or if there are other unanswered questions or questions that I didn't answer that you could answer for them. So, where can we find you? And please, please tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Okay. Let me tell you about my podcast first, and then I'll tell you how you can find me. Okay.
Okay.
My podcast is called Unshackled Leadership, a Lantern for Black Women. And it is dedicated to moving Black women in leadership from their zone of excellence to their zone of genius. And the podcast name came from my dedication and love for Harriet Tubman, who shone a lantern in the dark for all of us. Thus, the Lantern for Black Women, as part of the name of the show. It is here to take Black women through all of the machinations of battling their inner critic, building a strategy. Our show that will air probably will air on February 6th is about your sensuality and how you can have
Mm,
small sexual pleasures all day long
I love that
at
one.
work. And we're not talking about anything lewd or naked. We're
Right.
talking about how you can manipulate parts of your body and touch throughout your day to
Yes.
give you that sensual pleasure all day, which will
Mm-hmm.
calm your mind, calm your breathing, and enhance your ability to think clearly. We have upcoming shows on Black women in Hollywood right before the Oscars go on. Tina Chin, who did Women and Girls work for the Obama administration, is one of our guests coming up. So
Oh gosh,
we are
I'll be
taking
tuning
over.
in.
Yeah, yeah, because my clients are all over the world. My clients are women of color in India, Brazil, England, Thailand, and the United States. So when I say women of color, it's women. I am a coach for women of color. And so,
Yes.
and the way to reach me would be I do free consultations.
Mm-hmm.
They're slated for 30 minutes, but sometimes we talk longer for the free consultations, and I answer any of your questions about what you want to do. And sometimes people come for the free consultations, and I said, you actually don't need me.
Okay, right,
You
right.
need this or that. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
doing it just take any client for any time, just to take a client. So I really am listening to you and making a decision about whether you need me or not. And if you do, um, we work with the finances if that's one of your limitations,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not doing it solely for the money. I think this is a service I was asked to do, so I'm doing it. So, the easy way to reach me is that I'm Joia Jefferson Nuri on LinkedIn, Joia Jefferson Nuri, and the name of my company is In the Public Eye Coaching. So the
Mm-hmm.
website would be inthepubliceyecoaching.com.
Alrighty.
So
Well,
either direct place, you can get set up for a free consultation, and I'd love to hear from all of your audience.
well, just let me say this, Joya. You are a gift to the community of She Sweets, and we
Oh,
are
thank
lucky
you.
to have you. And I definitely need to get to my zone of genius. I hear it calling my name.
Okay.
Alrighty. So again, thank you, Joya, for this podcast on popping under pressure.
Okay.
And for my listeners, I'd like you to do me a huge favor. Would
Yes.
you please go to Facebook and like me and connect with me on LinkedIn or subscribe to my YouTube channel? And that's Jodi Hood. So until next time, see sweeters, keep walking the walk and talking the talk. And see sweets, the she sweets are coming at you.
Welcome to the podcast for G's only. For G's only. And it's for all women who's at the C-suite level. CEO. And we coming your way to share our stories in leadership.